Hey everyone, thanks for staying up late with me tonight. I've poured myself a mug of ginger tea, dimmed the lights, and I'm ready to share a story my buddy Nam told me in confidence. He was only 5 back in 1894, living in a tight little alley in District 1, Saigon, Vietnam. What happened to his grandma still creeps him out today, and after you hear it, you'll understand why. Nam's grandma Ho was the kind of lady who always had peanut candy tucked in her pocket for him. One rainy week, she fell sick, spent 3 days in Chudai Hospital, then slipped away while the heart monitor let out that long, flat tone. Nam was sitting in the courtyard at the time, clutching the last piece of candy she'd ever given him, watching it melt between his fingers. The family didn't have much, so the funeral was simple. A dark yellow coffin, a few white wreaths, a lot of tears. Late that afternoon, they buried her in a lonely cemetery on the outskirts of town. Tall grass whipped in the wind, mud stuck to everyone's shoes, and the sky spat drizzle as the final shovel of dirt landed. Folks figured that was the end of it. Turns out, the grave had other plans. 3 days later, before dawn, the caretaker's wife, everyone called her Auntie Sal, sprinted to Nam's Aunt Lon's house, white as paper. She swore she'd just seen a really tall man in a white robe carrying a kerosene lamp, guiding an old lady in a yellow owl shai straight down into Grandma Ha's grave. The dirt closed over them like water. Word raced up and down the alley faster than a moped with bad brakes. From that point, the alley felt different. Shadows stretched longer, stray dogs wouldn't quit howling, and every creak in the roof made the neighbors tighten their doors a little earlier each night. 2 days after Auntie Sal's sighting, exactly 5 nights after the funeral, the clock struck 4 a.m. Nam's dad, Hong, jolted awake. Through the thin wooden door, he heard his mother's shaky voice, using his childhood nickname. T-oi, T-oi, open the door for Mom. Heart hammering, he swung the door wide. Empty hall, just a draft that smelled like wet earth. At that same moment, Aunt Young, who was sleeping over at Aunt Lon's, heard a scraping sound, peeked through the curtains, and nearly passed out. Grandma Ho, still in the yellow outfit, was drifting along the second floor balcony, toes inches above the tiles. One scream later, all that remained was a ragged mourning cloth flapping on the clothesline. After that, every house in the lane latched its doors by sundown. Nam would shake awake at night, sure he'd heard soft shuffling in the courtyard or seen a flicker of lamplight under the tiles, though nobody else was out there. Nam's mom, Thuy, finally went to see her own father, Grandpa Min, a northern gentleman who read birth charts for half the neighborhood. He opened his fat lunar calendar, checked Grandma Hua's time of death, and sighed. She passed in a Zhonghuat hour, the worst of the 3 death-dragging times. If you don't seal that door to the underworld, 5 more relatives could follow her within 100 days. Chills. Mom asked what to do. Grandpa told her to find Master Tum, a nearly 100-year-old spirit doctor living over in Tunding. Sternly, bring proper offerings, he warned. Master Tum's house looked half ready to fall over, but his eyes were bright like LEDs. The moment his brass compass hit the floor, he muttered, "The yin air is thick as syrup. We have to cut it fast." His conditions. Number 1, ifrit ji of gold for the offering. Number 2, 1 pure white silky chicken, feathers, beak, legs, all snow white, eyes pink. Number 3, in households, Nam's family and Aunt Lan's had to sleep under one roof, doors locked by 8 p.m., and answer no voices, no matter who called. Finding that chicken was a quest. Hung and his brother burned through 3 tanks of gas, riding out to Hop Mon and Bingchan. On the 4th day, an old farmer finally produced a ghostly white bird that squawked like a rusty hinge. Master Tum nodded, gravely. Heaven's still on your side. Let's begin. Night of the ritual. Oil lamp glow, a mat painted with a yin-yang diagram, red candles, the white chicken sitting in a bronze censer. Master Tum wrapped a yellow strip of cloth around its neck and started chanting. Incense smoke spiraled into 3 tight red knots. Both candles snuffed themselves, then flared back, green this time. The chicken shrieked once, went limp, and the incense ash whirled like a tiny tornado. Outside, wind hammered the corrugated roof, even though every door was bolted shut. Little Nom squatted in a corner, clutching a pocket talisman. The 3 tiny sewing needles pinned to it felt hot as fresh coals against his skin. Even the family cat had all its fur standing straight up. You'd think that would settle things. Nope. Master Tum said the ghost world fights back, while the seal sets. Night 1 brought soft footsteps pacing the alley, paired with a moaning sigh that made everyone's stomach flip. Night 3, the elderly lady next door keeled over during her after-dinner Betel chew, the first potential extra coffin. A bright red casket sat in her living room all night. Nom kept dreaming of red coffins stacked like shipping crates, their lids cracked open, gray hands waving him closer. Night 5, the whole block heard Grandma Hua sobbing at the head of the alley. Tui oi, I'm cold. Mom covered her ears, tears streaming, but Master Tom just shook his head. That isn't your mother, he whispered. A second later, something scraped down the iron gate, claw metal on metal. Night 7, a white mist rolled in. Through the haze, folks caught one last glimpse of the yellow-robed figure, then she faded like cigarette smoke. At dawn on the 8th day, Master Tom handed Mom a small clay jar wrapped in gold cloth. Inside, 5 colored beans and a folded talisman. Instructions were crystal clear. Dig a hole, just fist deep, at Grandma's grave. Drop the jar with its mouth facing west. Barefoot, right heel only. Stamp 3 times, hard. Then walk away. Don't look back, no matter what you hear. Sun still snoozing behind the palm trees, Mom and Dad trudged into the cemetery. Dew soaked their pants. The grave mound was still sponge soft. Mom's heel hit the dirt. Once, twice, 3rd time, and a sudden whirl of wind whipped her hair sideways. Somewhere in that gust, a whisper floated. Tui oi. She clenched Dad's hand and kept walking, eyes forward till sunrise painted the headstones gold. That night, Master Tom gave everyone a fresh talisman, red ink, rainbow thread, 3 iron needles in an X. Carry it for 3 full years, he said. On the Hungry Ghost Festival of the 3rd year, burn it at a 3-way bridge when the tide's going out. Only then is the knot truly undone. From the night the jar went into the ground, the alley loosened up. Kids played marbles again, old men dragged their chess tables back outside. No more footsteps, no more sobbing. In 3 years, no one else in the family died out of schedule. Nom eventually grew up, left for college. When he was 10, Dad burned Nom's talisman after a bad fever. The ash curled into a tiny spiral on the concrete, then blew away clean. Still, Nom swears whenever a 4 a.m. breeze rattles his window, the echo of a green flame and a chicken's last scream floats through his mind, reminding him just how thin the door between worlds can be. One last word before the lights come back on. So that's it, folks. Grandma Strung Tang, exactly as Nom trusted me to tell it. If the story kept you glued to your seat, hit like and subscribe so we can hang out again on another sleepless night. And hey, should somebody whisper your childhood nickname outside your door at 4 a.m, maybe keep that door shut. Sleep tight, everyone.